I'm Dr. Pete the Stress Surfer, and we're about to approach managing our fourth element in terms of managing the waves of life without the stress. The four elements we've been working through. Firstly, there was mindsets, emotions, lifestyle, and now in this part of our program, we're going to have a look at purpose or purpose in life. We're going to focus in on the big picture of purpose, about your life mission, your legacy, and those big dreams and life goals you have, as well as the little picture of purpose, which is about small acts of kindness and day-to-day meaningful things. We're going to finish our time here having a look at how you adapt your sense of purpose in the event you do have big or challenging waves of life. Purpose in life, the importance of time. What you can see in front of you is a diagram about how much time we get in our lifetimes. The average lifespan of a male is 77 years and female is 83 years. We get 168 hours each week. And from birth to death, we'll spend 33% of our lives asleep, 22% of our lives in domestic duties and getting ready for work and morning and afternoon routines with the family. 34% of our lives will be spent at work, which only leaves 11% of our lives for life, for achieving things that aren't about work, domestic, or sleep. So we have a lot of time, many hours in our lifespans, but only a certain amount of time that we can focus on our lifestyle and living the life we want to, as we have the necessary health, work, and domestic duties we also have to complete. When we're looking at purpose, we want to have a look at your legacy and personal mission. And some food for thought when you think about that is the legacy exercise, what you leave behind. I want you to take a moment now and imagine a tombstone often seen in a cemetery. And on that tombstone, there's often the person's name and some statements about who they are. Those statements are our legacy, how people remember us and the impact that we had. We often get people to complete a tombstone or legacy exercise simply by giving them categories to which they can write down how they'd like to be remembered. Think about how you'd like to be remembered in loving relationships. In family, what would you like said about you? At work and at play. As you stop and think about the key words and phrases you'd like to say about people at the end of your life, you can start to see themes, important things, and similarly, things you're not important, things that don't really matter in the end. We'd encourage you to, at this point, form up that into a single statement we often call our personal mission. Once we have a personal mission, we also need to understand how we begin the seeds of planning the goals and the strategies that are going to help us live a fulfilled and purposeful life. In doing so, we also want to understand the concept of life pressure. And what you can see in front of you now is a diagram that represents the archway of a bridge, and you can see some cracks in the arch. You can see the question on the screen which says, what causes the crack in the arch? Is it too much pressure or not enough pressure? This idea came from a psychiatrist called Viktor Frankl in World War II, and he saw people he was a Jewish psychiatrist and his family perished. But he also saw people surviving and not surviving during their time in concentration camps. And interestingly, he observed that people who had a lot of threat, a lot of pressure, and a lot of demand in their lives didn't necessarily give up. They often kept busy and kept trying. But the moment people felt there was no hope, or there was nothing to do, or there was nothing more they had to focus on, they quickly lost hope. So one of the ironies in life is people who don't have enough pressure in their lives have the arch crack, whereas people who have lots of pressure tend to stay busy and stay alive. And just like engineering, you need all of that weight on top of that arch to close it over. So too in life, we need to be busy and have meaningful goals to focus on. But just like the arch, we can have ultimately too much pressure. However, it would be easy to crack the arch with a little pressure, whereas extreme amounts of pressure are needed to crush it. When we talk about finding the amount of pressure in our lives, the amount of busyness, the goals we need, we talk about the zone. And that's about setting life goals that aren't too hard and make us anxious, and not too easily achieved and create no challenge and therefore boredom. It's about starting to understand the goals and the tasks of life and making sure we're in that zone of maximum opportunity for growth. Food for thought. Stop now and take a moment and think about these questions. Firstly, what challenging life goals have you set for yourself recently? Do you have challenging life goals across different areas of your life, i.e. work, leisure, relationships, and travel? Or do you only focus on some areas when you set goals? Thirdly, are your goals clear and specific and enable some challenge, yet not overwhelm you? As we're discussing this element of purpose, the fourth element of well-being, we also need to consider not just the big picture, our big goals, our personal mission, but about the day-to-day living and the link between happiness and meaning on a day-to-day level. There's a number of research studies that look at how people experience happiness and when they experience happiness during the busyness of every day. These studies simply set little pages or little phones and they rang at random times of the day as people went about their business at work. And as soon as they rang, people simply picked them up and pressed a number of how happy they are. From 1, I'm not happy at all, to 10, I'm feeling great. One of the interesting things about these research studies is people felt happiest when they were busiest doing something that was meaningful. It wasn't the weekends, it wasn't Friday night after work, it wasn't during lunch break or morning or afternoon tea. It was those peak times when they're fully engaged in what they needed to do. Therefore, to be happy at a day-to-day level, you need to be engaged in meaningful activity. Think about the things that you engage in day to day that occupy you, give you a sense of achievement. For many people, this involves helping others or making a positive difference, completing tasks or finishing off some services at work or in their community. Day-to-day small acts of kindness, food for thought. I want you to stop now and revisit your personal mission and your legacy. Think about the small acts of kindness that you do each day, whether it's at work or home or in the community, that are consistent with your personal mission. I want you to develop at least 3 examples. They can be things you're already doing or opportunities day to day where you can get more small acts of kindness into each day. Moving into a summary now of the fourth element of purpose, we can see that there are 2 layers to purpose. Firstly, the big picture of our life journey, which is about our personal mission statement and our legacy and challenging life goals. And secondly, the small picture, which is about making each day meaningful and about those small acts of kindness. One of the things we need to also bear in mind on the element of purpose is the waves of life. Sometimes big waves of life, those tsunamis, can knock us out and we're at risk of a wipeout. And in managing waves of life and the element of purpose, we need to have a healthy strategy to adjust rather than an unhealthy strategy. A healthy approach to our purpose when a wave of life hits us is to review and adjust how we may be able to fulfill our personal mission and reset life goals and how we achieve small acts of kindness as needed. We need to adjust to what's happened around us when waves of life hit. Unhealthy strategies about our purpose, though, are to avoid the issues of the waves of life, which may lead us to lose focus and clarity of purpose, or we may persist with strategies that can risk damaging relationships and opportunities. Thinking about this fourth element of purpose and your current wave, let's complete an action plan exercise. Reconnect with the current wave you're focusing on and have a look at those 3 areas of purpose: living my values, leaving a legacy, and small acts of kindness. You can see the unhealthy and healthy ways we can engage in purpose, so tick those boxes about which ones are relevant to your wave. Now write yourself a note, draw together what you want to remember to prevent a wipeout in the area of purpose. Welcome back. How did you go with that exercise about purpose and your current wave? I'll show you the results of my exercise now. You'll remember that my current wave was about missing my kids, which was a big wave. You'll see that I've ticked living my values, and I've ticked that, and underneath in preventing a wipeout, you see I've noted that I need to revisit my personal mission in life and legacy and broaden it, not just to include things about being a father, but also perhaps increase the focus and balance I have between when I've got the kids and parenting and when I'm working in the community or doing something productive to build a better world. The other one I've ticked out of those 3 was about leaving a legacy and the goals that I have. And down in preventing a wipeout, you see that I've made a note to myself that I need to broaden the life goals I have and set myself perhaps some bigger challenges at work or with exercise, again, to bring balance to the sense of purpose I have as I manage that challenging wave.